I don't look like what I've been through, but I sure do feel it. Today, we are going to talk about dealing with your emotions while you are under attack and building in 5 key areas: emotionally, intellectually, physically, in your body, and financially and spiritually. And I'm saving 2 for last. Hey, my Mama Faye family, and welcome to Understanding Cycles by MOMAFEY-HT podcast. Come on in. Your journey has brought you home. Take a seat and relax, because the next couple of minutes will change your life. For those who are new to this podcast, I'm Mama Faye, and I am on a mission to give insight into cycles that keep replaying in your life. I am here also to help men and women who want to break the cycles and are creating a new future for themselves. I bring my revealed knowledge and wisdom based on God's word and my lived experience as a wife, as a mom, a nurse, a leader, and a coach. And I'm a woman who have walked through many of these seasons myself. Now today, I'm going to dive right into dealing with your emotions while you're building up and building back in your life. And I want to say this clearly so that you can feel it and understand it. While you are building, it is so important to be in the right frame of mind. And it is equally important to maintain 5 key areas. And like I said, I've added 1 or 2 that are often overlooked. And that is legally and politically. Yes, this is going to be good. And when you are under attack like this, you cannot afford to just react emotionally. You have to learn how to build yourself up while you're feeling the pressure and the stress and the strain that it takes to be successful in completing anything that's going to be meaningful in your life. So let's lean into this. You should be building in these 5 areas whether you realize it or not. Every decision that you make about whatever it is that you are building or whatever you're going through is adding or taking away from what you are building. Now, this is where what Nehemiah did becomes important. And remember, if this is your first time to this podcast, we're doing a series on the Nehemiah strategy, and we're taking it from the book of Nehemiah in the Bible. So let's show how you're to build emotionally. In Nehemiah chapter 4, verses 8, they prayed and they guarded their minds. They did not ignore the attacks, but they did not let the attack control their thinking. And that's key. Nehemiah and those that helped him build looked at the exposed areas in their life, because understanding your triggers, where you are vulnerable, it makes a difference. Maybe you are one of those people, and most of us are, where we have a hard time when people lie on us. And when people lie on us, automatically we want to go into attack mode, because we want to clear our name. And of course, we feel like it's not fair. Why would you lie on me? Then another thing, they work together to strengthen each other. Your strength lies in God, but He will put people in your life to give you support. So let them, because you need support doesn't mean that you are weak. What it does is it makes you wise and stronger. You can use their strength along with yours to go further and to go without burning out. Now let's talk about how to build intellectually. They talking about Nehemiah and those that were building, handle complaints without letting it stop the work. Yes, some of the people that's on your side is going to be complaining too. Yes, some of the people that's in your life, they're going to be coming up with challenges as well, even though they love you, but they still can present challenges. And sometimes they're going through things, and it can also put more pressure on you when they're going through things in their life as well while you're going through it, because other people's lives haven't stopped having their own attacks just because you are under attack. But what they did do was they stayed focused on rebuilding. And staying focused on the main thing is key. And because it's easy to get off of the main thing. So always keep the main thing in your mind and always keep it up front. So in Nehemiah chapter 11, Nehemiah understood this. So even while dealing with the pressure, he was able to take care of others. And I know a lot of times we want to, go in, and be internal and not be external and go outward. But making sure that the people that you love needs are met. Because too many times you and I want to go into seclusion instead of making sure that the people we care about is good as well. And checking in on their welfare, how this is impacting them. Well, what Nehemiah did tells you something powerful. You do not become bitter just because you're under attack. And it's not the time to retreat and go into isolation or not be able to, your ability to be able to help other people. And I know it's hard. I know I'm not asking you something that's easy, but it's something that has to be done. And I'm talking about parents with children. I'm talking about parents with grandparents. I'm talking about sisters and brothers. I'm talking about you and your friend. I'm talking about all of those different relationships that are impacted by things that are going on in our lives. And so we have to make sure that they are okay too. And what this does is you stay aligned and you're using your smarts to focus on the things and the ones who really matter. Well, and the reason why this is key is because after the work is done and the attack is over, you want those relationships to still be intact, and you want to be able to still be aligned, and you want there to be success. Now, in Nehemiah chapter 6, there were the attacker who was trying to distract them. And so these are officers. So these are people of prominent positions. And what they would do was they repeatedly was calling Nehemiah and sending him letters. And you ever got some letters and people keep sending you a letter? Maybe it's a bill collector. Maybe it's somebody who's kind of trying to go after you legally and they keep sending you legal notifications and stuff. What they're trying to do is they're trying to eat up your time and they're trying to take up all of your attention. So they were sending him messages. But today it would be text messages and it could be social media. But what, as I said, this is trying to do is trying to pull you away from the main thing, which is the work, which is building. And it's trying to talk you out of your decision to build or to handle matters. And so what he did, Nehemiah, in this case, he decided not to respond. And sometimes your silence say way more than you could put in a tweet. It say way more than you could put in a text message. Sometimes silence is the victory. And some of you need to hear that today. You do not have to answer every call. You do not have to respond to every message. You do not have to explain yourself to people who are not accountable for how they treat you. There is no need to meet when there is no change in behavior. Now, this is how you build physically, by not responding to every request for a meeting. Yes, because it does impact you physically. When you get exhausted, the stress builds up, and a lot of times you meet with people, there was no resolve, and it just leaves you more broken. It leaves you more with uncertainty and more for your mind to have to try to walk up over, and then it starts impacting your sleep. And when your sleep is impacted or affected, then now your body starts to respond, your pressure going up, you starting to have headaches, and so it starts to really wear on you physically. And then there was also the manipulation. There was Nehemiah went to a prophet that he thought was a true prophet, and he went to this person for consultation to try to get advice. And guess what this woman prophet did? She tried to create fear and shift his focus, and actually tried to set him up to be killed. And more importantly, she gave him misinformation. And this is where spiritual awareness matters. Not every voice is sent to help you. Some voices are sent to confuse you. And this is the time for you to run to God, not to other people, but to God, and let God tell you who to run to, and not away from God. This is when you spend more time in your prayer life. This is when you intercede. This is the time to start reading and listening as you read the word for his voice, and listening for God's voice. This is the time for reflection and meditation. So you and I have to slow down, and we have to ask in our prayer time, is this truth that I'm hearing, or is this pressure trying to move me out of my position? And it is going to come from both ways. There'll be people who will be speaking truth in your life, and then there will be people who will come with some type of error or some type of foolishness just to get you confused. But here is another truth. In Nehemiah 6:16, even when the people who were against him, they had to recognize that God was with him. Yes, even those who are trying to stop you will eventually recognize that there is something different, because there is going to show up you're going to show up in a different way than you have in the past. Especially as you walk through this series and God make you aware of what people or situation are trying to do in your life, you're going to walk differently. And you may not notice the change, but the people around you, including the people who are bothering you, is going to know that this time is different. He or she is acting really different, and they're responding in a different way. And that's what you are building. And that's what you're building is carrying something that is greater than you. And that's when you're going to know that what you're carrying is greater than you. Because as you walk through this, you are going to start to see many little minor victories. A lot of times we want to wait for the big one, but along the way, you're going to see some victories happening more and more as you continue to follow the pattern and the strategy. And this is Nehemiah's strategy, but it's also God's strategy. But that's not all. I want you to understand this. The pressure may not stop quickly. Some battles are long term. Some people will keep trying and trying. Let's say you was in a relationship, and a lot of times the relationship broke up, and you are saying, okay, I had it. We done did this cycle of coming back, not coming back, coming back, not coming back. This time I'm done. And many times that person will try their best to keep bothering you. And sometimes they feel that persistence is going to wear you down. And so some would even try to convince you that the people who are working against you are good people and you should just go along with it. And that also can be in relationship, but that can also be a lot of times when you're in a legal fight. Sometimes people will try to convince you to, let it go. Don't, pursue it. Don't go after it, and will try to convince you. Well, they didn't mean it that way, and those are good people, and they're you need to work with them. And sometimes you are seeing something that the people around you are not seeing. So that's where it comes critical that you stay in prayer, and if you are hearing to stay with it, stay with it. And that brings me to building financially. And not only financially, legally, and politically. And this is one that many people shy away from because a lot of times we just want things to be over. We just want people to leave us alone. And sometimes that is not the way that you're going to be able to build and build successfully. Because you still have a responsibility to yourself, especially if someone is trying to harm you in ways that will impact you financially or emotionally or physically. You have to prepare yourself for it. And what is the cost that this will have on my life? You may have to fight legally to clear your name or to protect yourself and those that you love. And many people want to give up on these areas, but they do fighting and financially, or rather building financially, legally, and politically. They are part of that fight. Now remember, when we first started this series, we talked about Nehemiah speaking with the king before he returned and got a letter. And he got supplies and he got certain guarantees. That is because Nehemiah anticipated that he and the people would be under attack. So there are times when you will be able to see that something that you're doing is going to, or a decision that you're going to make, anticipating that somebody somewhere is not going to like what the decision that you have made. So what Nehemiah did, he made sure that financially to ask for resources, and legally for a letter, and then politically Nehemiah became or was the governor. He left nothing to chance, and you and I cannot leave or take it for granted or become intimidated because people who are attacking you, they look stronger, they have more resources, and can keep an attack going for an extended period of time. So now you ask yourself, what am I building and what am I building with? Then you must keep building in all 6 areas. You must finish what you started. And when it is complete, you still must stay on guard. Because if you finish the work and as a result, in the end, you end up with hurt, you end up with fear, you end up with confusion, what you built will not last. But if your foundation is truth, discipline, and clarity, and you keep building in those 6 areas, you will be able to stand even if the pressure keep on coming. So finally, above all, make sure you build with excellence. And that is why the word of the week is excellence. Excellence means doing something with care, intention, and a high standard, even when no one is watching. Building with excellence means you do not let your emotions lower your standards. You stay focused on what you are creating and not really just what you're feeling. Now, let us take a moment to pray. I know we're going to need some prayer right about now, because this is going to take God doing the work within you. And believe it, Believe me, I know that it's going to take God to do the work within us. God, I come to you, my Father, Heavenly Father, to you with an honest and an open heart. You are the one that see the pressure, the emotions, and the weight that I've been carrying. Help me not to break under what I am building. Teach me how to move with excellence, even when I feel overwhelmed and tired. Strengthen my mind so that I do not react out of hurt, but help me to respond with wisdom. And then show me what to focus on and what I need to ignore. Protect me from distraction, manipulation, and confusion. Help me to stay grounded in truth, committed to what you have called me to build. And give me the wisdom to know when someone is providing me with good and sound advice, and more importantly, when it is not. Give me the strength to keep on going. Give me the clarity to see what matters and the peace to trust that you are with me every step of the way. Even when I don't see you or feel you, you are still here. This I ask in Jesus' name. Amen. Now, if that spoke to you, I want you to stay connected. It is important for you to follow, to subscribe, and if you will, please leave a emoji or simply put a hashtag rebuilding or excellence in the comments so that I know that you are listening and you are ready to move forward. And make sure that you subscribe to the Motivate Moment by Mama Faye on Substack so that you do not miss a single episode. This podcast is one of 3, and every episode is sent directly to your inbox when you are a paid subscriber. But of course, if you're following me, it should also notify you that I've just dropped the episode. And usually this series, Understanding Cycles by Mama Faye, comes out every Thursday. So look out for it. And for those of you who subscribe for free and the paid, I want to thank you by sending you a discount code so that you can get your free copy of my ebook, Understanding Cycles in Your Journey, because that's where all of this began. And I want to thank you for your continued prayer and support. When you purchase any of my products, you are helping me get this message out to others, and you're helping me to continue this work. Now, if you want to support and go deeper, you can go to the MOMAFEY-HT.com, or you can become a paid subscriber on Substack. And as a thank you, you will also receive special discounts on products. And for those of you who join my Becomers Club, and that's a one-time gift, you will get access to a private page and a one-to-one coaching session. And please do not forget to read the weekly refresh newsletter that accompanies this particular podcast, because I go deeper and I give you practical steps that you can apply right away. And then I want you to join me live on Thursdays on the Mama Faye Live Conversation. I'm on YouTube. I go live on Facebook and Substack. And usually the recap comes on all of the 3 platforms. So you won't miss it. Just listen to it if you cannot make the live. And make sure you follow me at MOMAFEY-HT across most social media, because this is where the conversation continues beyond this moment. Now listen closely to what is coming next. Next week, we're going to keep going further into what if building is not just about what you do, but about your spiritual growth while you're doing it. We're going to go a little bit more deeper into the whole spiritual aspect, because there are people who may not understand how to pray, what that whole process looked like. So we're going to take a whole podcast and kind of go through that and discuss that. So that'll be in that next episode. Now, I want to leave you today with this. When you choose excellence in the middle of pressure, you are not just surviving the moment. You are shaping your future and the future of those you love that cannot and will not be easily shaken or broken. I want to thank you for listening. That is all for today.